Hello everyone, welcome back to CMME Made Easy, and I hope you all are doing very well. Before we begin, let me remind my dear students that the contents of this channel are only to supplement your knowledge, not to replace the regular online and offline classes in your institution. So please attend your classes and do not miss them. Also, if you like our contents, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, like the videos, and share these videos with your friends, with your batchmates, with your juniors. Also, if you are a teacher, then with your students. Please follow our Facebook page, and the link will be given in the description. Before we go any further into biostatistics, I think this is the best time that we discussed sampling. So in today's video, we shall learn what sampling is, what are the purpose of doing sampling, the advantages and disadvantages of doing sampling, and the different sampling techniques. We shall start with a research question. What is the prevalence of hypertension among nursing students in the state? So in any particular state, there are so many nursing students, and I want to know what is the prevalence of hypertension among them. So this is my population. They comprise all the nursing students in the state. Now, if I am the only researcher, what I am supposed to do is I should approach them individually, check their blood pressure, and from that I can know how many of them are suffering from hypertension. But what is the problem here? Since there are so many nursing colleges or nursing schools all over the state, that means it will be so difficult for me to go to individual colleges or schools to approach individual nursing students in those colleges or schools and then measure their blood pressure. So it is going to take a lot of time, lot of resources. Because of that, it may not always be feasible to conduct such study. So what we can do? We can take what is known as a sample. Sample is basically the representative group of people selected from the population. So this is my population, all the nursing students in the state. From them, I have selected a couple of nursing students who are my samples. Now, I will measure the blood pressure of all the nursing students in my sample, and from that I will get the prevalence of hypertension in this sample. If the sampling technique is correct and it follows certain criteria, which we shall discuss in our future classes, then I can say that the prevalence of hypertension in the sample can be extrapolated or generalized to the nursing population as well. So whatever finding I get from the sample, that result can also be generalized for the population. So this will be approximately the prevalence of hypertension among all the nurses in the state. So this is the concept behind sampling. So often in biomedical research, it is not possible to study the entire population, as I mentioned. So therefore, most research involves the observation of a chunk of predefined population of interest, which is known as sample. The process of selecting the sample is called sampling. So now we know what is sampling. It is how we are going to select the sample from the population. Ultimately, what we conclude from the sample is often generalized to the whole population from where the sample is selected. So of course we have some population, and from that we collect our sample. We conduct our study on the sample, and whatever finding we get in the sample, we can generalize it to the population. Now there are certain terminologies that we must understand, and these are in context of sampling, because whenever we are doing any research, we are going through any research methodology, we need to understand these terminologies because we'll come across them quite often. First is the universe, also known as whole population, which is basically the entire group of study population, and it represents the complete set of individuals, objects or scores in which we are interested. So in just in our previous example of nursing students, all the nursing students of the state comprise the nursing population of the state. So that means they comprise all the subjects of interest. Sample is the small representative part of the whole population. So those nursing students we have selected for our study from the population will be the sample. Sampling unit each member of the whole population is known as sampling unit. So in previous example, the population was all the nursing students of the state. So individual nursing student will be considered as the sampling unit. Sampling frame is a list where all individuals from the whole population are drawn up, is known as sampling frame. So sampling frame is a list. Let me give you an example. Suppose in a class there are 200 students, and these 200 students are my population. From these 200 students, for my study purpose, say I have to select a sample of 20 students. How I can select them? So for that I can enlist all the 200 students in some manner. For example, if they have their attendance register or roll number, so from roll number 1 to roll number 200 there are 200 students. That means for individual student there is a roll number. So this list I have where all the roll numbers are mentioned will be the sampling frame for the whole population. Then come the parameter and the statistics. So quantity or any variable that describes the population characteristics is known as parameter, and statistics is the summary value of sample. For example, if I am talking about the mean height of the whole population, alright, so that will be parameter. But if I am talking about the mean height of the sample, that will be the statistics. So always remember P for P, S for S. So parameter P for population P, and statistics S for sample S. Now, what are the rationale of sampling? Samples are chosen for study rather than entire population because. So sometimes we can select the entire population if it is possible, but it is always better to go for samples. Why? Because number one, to minimize financial cost. If I have to select the entire population, that will need a lot of financial resource. That means lot of money, right? Because you have to travel a lot, you may need a lot of instruments, and you may have to employ a lot of researchers for your study. So all these things will cost a lot. It will also save a lot of time and resources. So as I mentioned, materials and money, time, etc., all can be saved if we select a sample rather than the entire population. And information collected are mostly accurate, that is valid and reliable. We have already discussed validity and reliability in our previous videos. So whenever we take a sample, there is higher accuracy as compared to any information that we gather from the entire population. Sampling also has some disadvantages. For example, sampling bias. It occurs when not all the subjects in a given population have known and equal chance of being selected. So certain subjects may have higher chance of being selected while rest of the people have lower chance of being selected. Need for specialized knowledge, because the person who will be doing the sampling, he should have adequate knowledge regarding different sampling techniques so that he can select the correct sampling method in the given situation. Also, he should be aware of the sample size. That means how many subjects are needed for the given study. Sample size is a different topic altogether, and we shall discuss sample size in details in our future videos. Selection of true representative and difficulty in finding sample. Sometimes what happens, the population is very much heterogeneous. That means too much variability in the population. So whenever we take the sample from the population, it may not be the true representative of the population. Here I have given an example. We want to know which sample is representative of the population. So in this population, suppose these are the adolescents. All right. So this is the large circle which represent the population. The girl and boy ratio is 1:1, almost equal. As you can see, this pink color denoting the girls and sky blue color denoting the boys. So they are almost equal. Now I can take two samples from this. If you look at the first sample, here also the girl and boy ratio is almost 1:1. On the other hand, in the second sample, you can see most of the subjects are boys, only few of them are girls. So as you can see, in sample 2, we are not getting the true representation of the population in terms of girl-boy ratio. So that is why sample 1 is definitely the better representative for the population. Now let us discuss the different sampling techniques. Today we shall learn only the classification, the names of different techniques. In our next few videos we shall discuss them individually. So when we carry out a study based on the feasibility, we may study the whole population or we may select some subjects from the whole population. So if we are going to select the whole population, that means if it is possible, if it is feasible, we can also take information from all the subjects in the given population. Alright, so whenever we are considering all the individuals in the study population, it is known as complete enumeration or census method of sampling. So this is not a true sampling method because we are not collecting a true representative part of the population, because we are taking the whole population, and this is known as complete enumeration method or census method. But when only few individuals are selected, that means when we are collecting a sample from the whole population, then we can have either probability sampling or non-probability sampling. Now this is the classification of sampling, where we can see the different types of sampling. Sampling can be non-probability sampling and probability sampling. What are the differences? We shall learn in our future videos. So anyway, non-probability sampling can be of different types like purposive sampling, convenience sampling, snowball sampling, quota sampling, and self-selection sampling. On the other hand, probability sampling can be simple random sampling, systematic random sampling, stratified random sampling, multi-phase sampling, multi-stage sampling, sequential sampling, cluster sampling, lot quality assurance sampling, or LQAS. Now for undergraduate students, they should know these first three kind of probability sampling in details, because they are often asked as short note, often in the Viva table also. And for postgraduate trainees, especially those who are involved in research work, they should know all the methods. In our future videos, we shall discuss all these individual methods in details. So with this, we conclude today's session. We have learned what is sampling, what is the purpose of doing sampling, the disadvantage of doing sampling, also the different kinds of sampling. If you like our video, please subscribe to our channel and share this video with your batchmates, juniors and friends from other colleges. We also have our Facebook page that you can follow. The link is given in the description. Take care, and we shall see you in our next video.